Good morning, it's Devorah. It's InStory Live, and it's the Torah Edition. So, for anybody who doesn't know me, I live in Portland, Oregon. I'm a storyteller, soul story coach, and I'm Jewish and observe the Jewish holidays and Shabbat and the whole spiritual, uplifting perspective of what it means to be Jewish and what's our spiritual take on things. And it's Friday, so for me it's heading into Shabbat, which is our Jewish Sabbath. And I've taken to teaching you a little bit of Jewish spiritual teachings that I feel are soul nourishing and uplifting for everybody, no matter what your tradition, what your faith. We have these deep teachings that are in our past, in our families, in our heritage, and in what guides us. And I love taking from like those traditional sources and lifting them up. And what's super cool about this is that the person that I'm teaching from, his name is Rebbe Nachman, and he lived 200 years ago, and what he writes is so relevant to us, which I really love that. So I'm going to read to you, hi Kay, I'm going to read to you a little bit of his teachings, and I'm going to kind of pause as I go to pull out kind of what I see. And I want to encourage you, any of you watching, to kind of trust your wisdom and your insights. And it's like our tradition is filled with source text and commentaries on that text. And that's an infinite and endless process. And so you read a source text, then you read a commentary, then you add a commentary, and it wakes up our awareness. It wakes us up. Hi, Helen. And it allows you to expand your consciousness. So, and I'm always teaching that, hi, Susan, that I want you to be you. I'm always teaching my InStory way. My whole year program is, what's your way? What do you have to say? But it links with what inspires you. Where do you draw your inspiration? So Rebbe Nachman is a wonderful, wonderful source of inspiration. Okay, so here's the first little one, and then I might read a little longer one. Now, many of you will know why I love this, because I'm always talking about their fall down, get up. So here's one of the places I get it from, right? So he says, and I'm in a little book called Restore My Soul by Rebbe Nachman. Okay, all right. The whole purpose of a fall is often to prepare the way for a spiritual climb. Now, I love that perspective on it, that the fall is for a spiritual climb. Great. The intention is to give you a jolt in order that you marshal all your strength and focus your entire consciousness on serving God. All right, I'm going to read that again. I don't know about you, but I'm like, wait a minute, let's take that in deeper. The intention is to give you a jolt. Okay, I think I just want to sigh in this moment, because have you ever had that feeling like, seriously, God, do I have to fall down in this way again to learn this lesson? But sometimes you need that jolt to be able to just stop. Hi, Sharon, to be able to just stop, okay? So the intention, so you fall, the intention, hi Lena, is to give you a jolt in order that you marshal all of your strength and focus your entire consciousness on serving God. What that means is you fall, and to get up, you're focusing your entire consciousness on lifting up your energy, on raising that up. If you're not a God person, it's serving source, but lifting that up to a higher level of consciousness. For the essence of service of God is to find new life and new strength every moment of the day. Hi, Susie. Oh my gosh. Like, just take that in. The essence of the service of God is to find new life and new strength every moment of the day. So this book might not be exactly in print, but what I'll do is I'll post a link to what's called the Brutzlov Institute. And Rebbe Nachman lived in a town called Breslov in the Russia-ish area. And so there's a whole website with beautiful, beautiful teachings. You're right. So Susan's saying easier said than done. Right, but if we don't say it, then we for sure don't do it. So just breathe it in for a second. For the essence of service of God, right? That's that higher calling of our soul to living this higher calling and purpose, is to find new life and new strength every moment of the day. So one of the things I teach all the time is what I call pause, notice, and shift. Also, look at my cool henna. I was at a friend's party. It's a tree with its trunk on my finger. Show and tell. There's another little part I want to read you if you're not too overwhelmed. It says, many people have profound, this is a separate little section, okay? They come in little sections. So that first one was about falling and getting up. But let's dive in deeper, okay? So most people have a profoundly mistaken concept of the very nature of their own existence. Okay, then they do not understand that the soul with which they have been given is drawn from the holiest source. Okay, you gotta take this in, people. Your soul comes from source, from that holiest of holiest source. I'm always saying to people, nothing can dim the light of your soul. You can get gunk on it, but you just clean that off and you will be shiny again. So sometimes people mistake the nature of their existence. People lose track of this. And so it goes on, and he says, they find it unthinkable that they themselves might ever really return to God and lead a life that is truly righteous and honest. You know that feeling like we're not worth it? That's kind of what he's saying here 200 years ago, okay? It's part of the nature of trying to have a soul inside of a body in the physical world. You have to stretch. And they find it unthinkable that they themselves might ever really return to God and lead a life that is truly righteous and honest. Okay, we're going to go on. You can hear this regularly as soon as people start talking about a particular individual who is noteworthy for their piety. So we're talking now, he's saying, you see someone who you really, really see as, whoa, they are clearly an elevated being, right? We've all seen people like this. They're amazing. And for a moment, there's a stirring in their own hearts, and they too yearn to return to God. So this happens to me sometimes. I see somebody who's clearly like so connected, so spiritual, so elevated. I'm like, oh, and it just pulls. At first thing, it's like you see something like that, like lifts your heart. And that is the nature of the people of Israel. But it's not just the people of Israel. That's just his perspective. It's the nature of humans who are stretching, who are reaching to be more fulfilled. Right, and that's exactly what he said, to be filled with yearning to return and come closer to God. I mean, for me in my little world, this is it. We are yearning to return, like our souls just want to serve and come closer to God. No sooner do these people feel this stirring than they immediately stop short. This truly happens to us. And then what is it that you think? Quote, here he's saying, well, of course I can hardly compare myself to such a person. That person was born that way. It's part of that person's makeup. Right? So we see somebody and we say, well, they're just like that, not me, right? As if to say, all that these great teachers have achieved came only from innate holiness of their souls, inherited from earlier generations. The fact of the matter is that all achievements of these great, holy, high souls, in Hebrew we call it tzaddikim, came about only through hard work and effort in God's service over a period of years and years. It was only through determination, steadfastness, prayers, and entreaties that they were granted their spiritual heights. All right, folks, that means we can do this. It's not too late. We're not too small. We're not too unworthy. We can do it. We can get back up. We can yearn, we can strive, we can encourage each other, we can cheer each other on. And it's not impossible. It's with that yearning, that feeling that we are being called to something more elevated. That's your soul shining inside of you, saying, go clean off that gunk, let me out. Let me shine. And so I'm always kind of amazed when I read teachings from a long time ago that feel so alive and current in our times. And I believe that I believe we really are being called to something more. And especially as women, I really believe we need each other to cheer each other on, nudge each other forward, to remind each other that we are extraordinary, we're visionary, we're filled with light. I recently asked my community, are you now or would you ever want to be an inspirational visionary? Yes, of course, that's what we want to be. But then we bump into exactly what Rebbe Nachman here is speaking about, but who am I to be that? This comes up for me, for many of us, like, who am I to be like some spiritual teacher, leader, guide, coach, mentor, healer, whatever it is, because I can't do this thing or the other thing, or I'm not good at this, or I fell down here, or I have this, whatever. Join the club. Being perfect is not it. It's that raising ourselves up, that yearning. So today, take a deep breath. Feel that you're lifting yourself up and expanding. And that, remember the very first thing from the very first one, the whole purpose of a fall is often to prepare the way for a spiritual climb. I'm going to just read the first part again. The intention is to give you a jolt in order that you marshal all your strength and focus your entire consciousness on serving God. For the essence of the service of God is to find new life and new strength in every moment of the day. And that is my blessing to all of you. May you truly find that blessing, that strength, that joy in every moment of every day. And what I encourage you to do, this is a tip. If you happen to notice that you're not feeling it, right? You're not feeling that sense of uplifted energy, of newness, of joy, then pause. Just stop. Pause. Notice that. Notice that. So if we don't have neighbors like each other, that's why we get together in this world online, as we create our online neighbors from all over the world. It's amazing. It's a wondrous thing. And we lift each other up this way. And it's very beautiful. It's very inspiring. And you can do it. You can do it. You're not too old, too small, too hurt, too wounded, too late, too anything. You can do it. I always tell people, if I can do this whole online thing, anybody can do it. I was so clueless when I started. And trust the deep teachings, mine, other people's, any deep teachings you bump into that nourish your soul. Trust them, breathe them in. Pause, notice if you're feeling in some way stuck, blocked, whatever, and shift. Use a tool, pick a tool, listen to somebody that inspires you, inspire the next person, go out in nature, do something to shift. Okay? Sending you lots of love, blessings, inspiration. I would love to know if you're enjoying these teachings, and share them if you want to, and reach up, get back up. You can always get back up. And as I always say, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.